main thing. So, okay, well, it's 7 o'clock and I'm going to call the meeting of Middleton Plan Commission for July 26, 2022 to order. And the first item is the roll call. Abby?
Erdman Hermans,
Present.
Harp,
Present.
Ramsey,
Here.
Schaefer,
Here.
Slavish,
Here.
and Brar is present. Bruce is excused this evening.
All right, so now the big item today is the public hearing at 7 o'clock. It's the public hearing date for rezoning to Planned Development District General Implementation Plan. This is the Greenway Center lots 3 and 4, 1551 Pleasant View Road. If you like to speak, which I think there are quite a few people who would like to, so raise your hands, and Abby, you're going to keep track of the time. So you have each one will have 3 minutes to speak. You identify yourself and you have 3 minutes. So I don't see any raised hands right now. If you would like to speak either for or against it, please raise your hand. Okay, I got to. Okay, Darren and see. Darren, you're up.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yes, Darren.
All right. So thanks for taking a minute for me to make my comments here. I am, my name's Darren Jancy. I'm a vice president with PPD in Middleton, Wisconsin. PPD has been part of the community since 1996. We currently have roughly 2,200 employees in Middleton. We occupy a building that is at 8551 Research Way, which abuts the current development that's being discussed tonight. One of the concerns that we have related to this project is potential vibration, water runoff, and potential impact to our operations in our buildings there in Middleton. Our equipment is very sensitive to vibration, and if there's a significant amount that lasts a extended duration, it could impact our ability to operate in that environment. We do see long-term impact to vibration on our equipment. So we are asking that we get an opportunity to see a full assessment of the vibration that'll be produced to remove the rock and or soil, any sort of soil compaction that might occur on the site. And then also to understand the remediation for stormwater, which I understand that there is a plan for. That is our main concern around the project, is the potential impact to our operations there in Middleton.
Thank you, Darren. Really appreciate that. Those are all valid concerns, and I'm going to do everything to make sure that your concerns are properly addressed. Really appreciate that. Kevin Spitzer. Kevin Spitler. Kevin? Kevin Spitler, your hand is up.
He's
You
muted.
may unmute yourself, and Kevin, you're up. You got 3 minutes. They will start.
Hear me now?
We hear you now, Kevin.
Okay. All right. I think this project and many, well, I think the LZ Ventures design and many other aspects of this project are admirable. But I think the location is completely wrong due to the following reasons. The site is on a very steep hill, covered by a full canopy of mature deciduous trees that provide important evapotranspiration in the Pheasant Branch watershed. This hill has a tree-lined paved switchback trail for bikes and pedestrians, unlike any other in Middleton. Excavation of the site will strip it of its natural and unique beauty and add more stormwater to the Pheasant Branch watershed at a time when reducing or at least minimizing rapid runoff during increasing heavy rain events should be a city objective, if not a formal policy. The presence of bedrock within 10 feet of the surface will require blasting, which introduces related damage, noise, disruptions, and other negative side effects. The project would have only one entrance and exit located just north of the entrance to Pleasant View Golf Course, probably adding to, possibilities for lots of collisions. The buildings would greatly alter or block portions of the views from so-called Pleasant View Golf Course. They provided some view sheds that show this distinctly. The property is much better suited to remain natural and should be acquired by the city, particularly since that portion of Middleton needs more parkland. Thank you for letting me voice my opinions.
Mayor Barb Summerfield would like to speak. Summerfield.
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly with what the last guy said. I've been looking at that property for 3 years and just admire the natural beauty around here. And I love that little intermittent creek. It is not a ditch, it's a creek. And I'm worried about the dust because I have COPD. I'm worried about traffic patterns and how the traffic would impact Greenway Boulevard, which is already getting busier. I'm wondering about the increase in the number of units. They went a lot more units than that first party talked about. Also, the biggest thing to me is impact on the birds. Window strikes, disruption of their habitat. So that's it.
Thank you. Really appreciate that, Bob. Anyone okay? Elliot Rulao? How do you pronounce your name? Elliot,
Yeah,
let's go.
It's Elliot Rouleau. You got pretty close.
Elliot Rulao. Thank you. Elliot, go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
Yeah, my name's Elliot Rouleau. I'm a geotechnical engineer. I've been retained by PPD and Nuveen, owners of the neighboring property. And as maybe some of you know, we spent the last year and a half doing an analysis and coming up with a mitigation plan and then executing a mitigation plan on the rock cut wall, which is adjacent to the proposed apartment complex. We did a lot of investigations, studies, analyses to come up with a solid mitigation plan for PPD and Nuveen. However, this proposed apartment complex was not a part of those analyses, especially when it comes to construction blasting, surcharge loads on top of the rock wall, so setback distance, and then stormwater runoff. So, and we did address the city of Middleton. We sent a letter of our concerns related to the apartment complex. And it is our opinion that LZ Ventures does their own study and includes those concerns in their plans, and then has give PPD and Nuveen and their hired consultant a chance to review those plans as well. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Elliot. Really appreciate it. Anyone else who may want to speak at this time? Anyone else? Abby, do you see anyone?
I don't. I do
Okay,
now.
I see it. Gayatri, go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mayor Brar and everybody else. My name is Gayatri Dhanakaran, and I'm a resident of Bella Casa on Greenway Boulevard. I have lived here since January of 2006. And this project, while few floors lower than the earlier project, seems to have more number of units, which means more people, more traffic, more concrete, glass, everything else. And definitely more impact on the water situation. 5 years back, when we had the very significant rain here, our garages were flooded. My house just about managed to escape with, you know, by a hair's skin of my teeth kind of situation, with water coming into my house past the steps and everything else. Mayor Brow, you've also been here. You've seen, you've been to our building. You have seen the backyard. You have seen where the building will go exactly, and the impact that it will have on Bella Casa as well as LaSalle. While LaSalle is on a higher elevation, Bella Casa has a significant problem with the water runoff being right below them. I understand that the developer has plans for the water retention, but, and again, the blasting and all could have, we also have a retention wall, a rock wall. And a little bit of our property extends up close to the pedestrian walkway. So we are going to have some significant impact, you know, all said and done, all around. And of course, one of the bigger concerns, as Barb also mentioned, is all the wildlife here. That's going to be very significantly affected. Not to mention, we have seen a severe recession in the amount of greenery. And this is one of the last few green patches in this particular area. And 350 units, 350 something units is one too many units for that location. It's going to be very severe concentration, not to mention the traffic impact it's going to have. I know Pleasant View Road expansion plans are there, but it's all, even at the moment, getting off onto Pleasant View or off Pleasant View onto Greenway is quite a problem during rush hour. And that's going to significantly go up once this project comes into, you know, phases out. I know it will be a beneficial advantage from the city standpoint and probably from the economic standpoint, but there are significant disadvantages on all other levels, from the quality of life standpoint to the residents of this locality. So I would pray to the Planning Commission to take these factors into account and not just the commercial benefits. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you, Gayatri. I appreciate your input. Anyone else who may want to speak at this time? Anyone else who may want to speak at this time? Abby, do you see any raised hands?
I'm just clicking through. Oh, there is one. Ms. Kuhn, would you like to speak?
I'd like to say I second Gayatri's comments. Also, I have one other item, one issue specifically. We viewed 5 locations the developer has presented to us previously. Lovely, very, very nice buildings. I have yet to see anything built on the top of a hill. I'm putting that out because I disagree with having this location for 3 buildings. I want to present that and have it on record. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mrs. Kuhn. Anyone else who may want to speak at this time? Anyone?
Oh, you've already spoken, Barb.
I know. I just wanted to add one thing, but it's okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, shoot, now I forgot. I'm getting old. It was the thing about the city buying that or working with the conservancy to buy that property and protect it for forever would be nice. And what if they run into Indian ruins up there, or some kind of bones or something? What's going to happen? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who may want to speak at this time? Anyone else who may want to speak at this time?
Mayor, just for the record and assuming there are no other speakers on the call, we also received written comment in opposition from Jenny Knockreiner, who lives at Bella Casa. We received written opposition from Anna Chetverikova, who lives at 8530 Greenway Boulevard, Unit 303. And we received written concerns from Golder and Associates, engineers Elliot Rouleau, who spoke this evening, as well as Matt Wachholz. They were retained by the owners of the PPD property. And to note, not as part of the hearing itself, but we also have gotten comments through the committee review process and through the neighborhood meeting that will be discussed later on the agenda.
Okay, thank you, Abby. Well, this is the last chance if there is anyone else who hasn't provided the comments, if they want to speak. Otherwise, do you see anything, Abby? Otherwise, I'm going to close the public hearing.
I do not see anyone else.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing and we'll go to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes, Plan Commission minutes for July 12th, 2022. Need a motion to approve.
Slavish will make a motion for approval.
Okay, need a second.
Purple second.
Okay, all right, Chris, thank you. Any questions or comments? Otherwise, all those in favor of the motion to approve the Plan Commission minutes of July 12th, 2022, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we are on to the agenda items. Item number 1 is the design review revisions for a mural, Willie Street Co-op West, 6825 University Avenue. Abby.
This is a competition that Willie Street held. They had 3 artists design mural options, and this is the one that was preferred by their membership, and they're proposing it for the east side of their building. So off the screen here is University Avenue, Elmwood Avenue on this side, and this is kind of near their dock, and our staff is supportive and we recommend approval of the design.
I think it looks very good. So, okay, need a motion to approve.
Schaefer moves.
Okay, I will second it. Any questions or comments now? I think it's really well done and looks really, really nice. So, yeah. And it's also pretty good size, 12 feet by 28 feet. I think we need things like that. So, any questions or comments from the commissioners? Any?
I feel like this is in line with the University Avenue Corridor Enhancement Project, and I'm in support of it.
The way to go, Gretchen. Anyone else? Okay, if there are no other questions or comments, are those in favor of the motion to approve the design review revisions for a mural on Willie Street Co-op West, 6825 University Avenue, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes. We are on to the last item of the, it's going to be last item, which is item number 2, rezoning to Planned Development District General Implementation Plan of the Greenway Center, lots 3 and 4, 1551 Pleasant View Road. Abby.
Yep, I'm displaying our staff recommendation for this evening on the screen here, and I know that we have the developers team, John Leje with LZ Ventures, Dwayne Johnson with PBA, and Ken Psyche with Ken Psyche Design also on the call this evening. Just to summarize, in general, our planning staff is very supportive of this project, and we think it provides an opportunity to add compact and much needed housing to an area that has a lot of jobs close by. But that being said, there are still some issues that need to be worked out on the site. We need to do a traffic impact analysis, which was raised, and that's part of our general rezoning process. We also need to have a full stormwater management plan for the property, which has to be reviewed by Water Resources. And we would like to conduct our own geotechnical analysis, that the city would hire our own consultants to review the reports that are submitted by the development team. I think that this proposal, as compared to the last proposal that came in for the site, has fewer challenges than the last proposal, especially as it comes to utility service. Because if you'll recall, the previous proposal was proposing routing sanitary sewer through conservancy land, which was not supported by our Conservancy Lands Commission. And with this proposal, the developer is willing to work with the city and wait for the Pleasant View Road reconstruction project to bring utilities to the site. And we are starting some small part of that project yet this fall. There are still concerns, like I mentioned, with the rock wall, stability during blasting, and interruption in particular to PPD operations, and also the stormwater management issues that were raised during the hearing. But some of those same concerns also exist for the city's Pleasant View Road reconstruction project, which also will include and require blasting to take down the hill. Right now, Big Hill on Pleasant View Road, it's going to be brought down about 15 feet. And the construction method for that is also blasting. So I see this as an opportunity for the city maybe to, yes, there will be just some disruption with both, but there might be an opportunity for us to kind of team up and coordinate things so that the disruption is limited, and also timed so that we don't disrupt experiments that are happening at PPD. The height of the building previously was proposed at 14 stories and then 12 stories. So this is a lower height at 8 stories, although the footprint has expanded. But I will say that this property has been part of the Greenway Center zoning for decades. So we've always been aware that this site would develop. It has had permissive zoning in place for an office type use for a long time. And as we know, there's not much of a market right now for office. And so I think converting this to residential makes a lot of sense to add housing close to jobs. We still have a very low renter housing vacancy rate in the county. We just had a meeting with CARPC, the Regional Planning Commission, and that was what they were focused on, is how is the city infilling housing and creating more housing, because there's a lot of pressure on the county as a whole. The developer is willing to work with the property owners nearby to minimize disruptions, and we have really good experience from coordinating with the same developer on the Foundry project in Middleton. So I guess that's just it in summary. And I believe that the developer would like to make a presentation.
Okay, so I think, yeah, let's go ahead and see the presentation. I would say that it's very, very important, as you mentioned, Abby, that we have to address the concerns of PPD as our largest employer. And we also have to address the concerns of 2 condo complexes and you know, the concerns which citizens raised, and I think they all can be handled. So, all right, so who is going to, Dwayne, you're making the presentation, or who is? All
Abby,
right.
if I could share my screen, I'd be, oh, it's unlocked now, thank you. So can everybody see my screen?
Yes, Dwayne, absolutely.
So our site is here highlighted in yellow. It's technically lots 3 and 4 of the Greenway Center, and we're on the east side of Pleasant View Road across from, oh, I'm sorry. And then PPD is to our north, and La Silve and Bella Casa are down to our southeast. The current site is just under 6 acres, and portions of that will be reduced for right-of-way dedications and utility easements. Since our last meeting before the Plan Commission last March, we have received input and met with a number of groups and neighborhood members, including the Golf Course Committee, the Water Resource Committee, the Fire Department, PPD and representatives from PPD. And most recently, we hosted a neighborhood meeting, which had a number of neighbors from Bella Casa and La Silva as well. This is our proposed schematic site plan. This proposal includes 3 8-story buildings, each with between 119 and 124 luxury apartments. This is a 13-unit reduction from our concept plan that we came before you in March. Building 3 will also have a community building, a single-story community building, and a pool plaza and other outdoor amenities that Ken Psyche will talk about shortly. The future Pleasant View Road can be seen here to the left. We are still utilizing the planned north entrance from Pleasant View Road as our main access point. We've included an additional drive to the north along the PPD property. This gives better access to tenants to get to the underground parking, and it also was a discussion with the fire department to have better fire department flow through the site, which was a concern with the last development. On the top part here is a 62 stall surface parking lot that would be used for guests and overflow for tenants. Each building also has 2 levels of underground parking. We are still utilizing the site's contours to gain access to these stacked parking levels, but now some of them also have an internal ramp, or in lieu of the double entrance, have an internal ramp that would access the 2 different levels. And then each building also has the parking extend beyond the building footprint. And this area would be used for plazas, both for community and individual units. And then we're also incorporating green roofs to help with our stormwater. As Abby mentioned, utilities would now be coming off of Pleasant View Road. We do have a large underground stormwater detention area, which is shown here dashed in blue under the parking. And then there's a smaller one further down the road, and both of those would be piped. They would capture roof water and parking lot water and treat that water, and then it would overflow through pipes into the newly constructed, or the soon to be constructed, Pleasant View Road storm sewer. We're drastically reducing the amount of storm water that's going off site. We do have Justin Zampardi from Veerbicker on the call tonight as well, and he can speak more to those changes with the stormwater and how it's being improved. I'd like to turn it over to Ken Psyche if he's on, and have him talk about some of the thoughts for the different park areas or the areas surrounding our site. Ken, are you able to unmute?
Go ahead, Ken.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. So this is a sketch that is starting to explore some of the possibilities around the clubhouse and pool that Dwayne had described. And we're using the grade to our advantage here so that the pool itself is an exposed element that rises above the grade. And there's an opportunity to maybe use that for a climbing wall, for example, in the upper right. We also have the ability to capture some lower level activities, so that council ring is a space that is, again, down below the pool deck, but looking out into the wooded area. And we've been very sensitive to the edge along the bike path and the existing vegetation. We actually asked the surveyor to go out there and locate all the trees that were within 40 to 50 feet of the bike path. So we can do the best we can to preserve as much of that forestry as possible. It's certainly an asset for the development as well as part of the bike trail experience, and certainly be our intention to minimize grading operations in that area so that we could maintain those specimen trees, and then also come back in after doing some lower level brushing and removal and do a savanna restoration there. So that would be part of the proposal. We're looking at this area B triangle area, which is actually off property for us, but as you can see, our plan is to, not invade that area with grading, but looking at the opportunity to use that space for some natural play, adventure play activity that could wind in and out of the trees that would be remaining there as an opportunity for people using the bike path potentially, and for tenants of the development as well. So, and then finally, I think the sketch shows the fire lane that is required for access, but we're hiding it under the auspices of a couple of pickleball courts so that we have a little bit of activity that can be used there while still maintaining access for the fire department. So these are just ideas that we're exploring right now. We need a little bit of, we need to talk with the city about, especially the area that is on your property, frankly, to see how we might be able to implement some of these ideas.
Thanks, Ken.
Excellent ideas, Ken. So I appreciate it. So I like the way, well, you're always very innovative and I appreciate that. So who is next? Anyone else speaking, Dwayne, after Ken?
Just going to wrap up with a couple of quick exterior
Okay.
elevations or drawings
Okay.
of the building. So this is a view from Pleasant View Road. You can see like Abby had spoke, the Pleasant View Road is getting lowered substantially, and there's going to be a walking bridge or a bike path bridge over Pleasant View Road. So a lot of these grades are existing height, and the road's actually lowered pretty substantially, but this shows our single point entrance into the site and how we're utilizing the existing grades to gain access to the first floor up on the parking level, and then the different levels of underground parking on the lower grade areas. The general design inspiration is a modern mountain style resort, and this theme is carried through through all portions of the site and building designs. And we're using high quality materials with a stone base, fiber cement and metal panels with wood accents and large windows. Here's a view from the other side of Pleasant View Road. This is a raised view of that same area. We did add additional windows up high on the corner top story. And then we also are going with a single slope roof for these capped areas at the end. There'd be 3 of these roof forms on each building, and those would also hide the mechanicals of the building. And then this is a view closer in of from the parking area of the single story community building. There are quite a few other images that are in your package that I won't go into for time's sake. But LZ and the development and design team are excited about the collaborative opportunity for this unique site. And we look forward to your valuable input, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Dwayne. Really appreciate it. I will start. I think, it's great you're going to have a community building. And as you know, the libraries and the education is changing. So I'm sure you will have the facility for the kids there to learn, set up a library, I would say, well, education center. So I think that's really great. And I like that you're swapping your triangle with the city, and city had that path on this private property. And I think that's really awesome. And I like what Ken Saki has presented in terms of playgrounds. I think that's, we need some parks in this part of the city, in this southwest corner. We just, after a long time, we had just one small park, and it's really great the way it's proposed that you're going to have set up a park there along with a playground. It's I think doing anything which we can do to help the next generation, that they, it's the playground where the parents and the little kids come together, and that's what builds the community. And what happens at a very early age, up to even about 5 or 6, really stays with you rest of your life. So I think putting that playground the way you're doing is excellent. And I'm sure that, the staff and you're working to address the issues of PPD and the constituency here. And I know you made a presentation to the golf committee, and let's see if you can make them happy as well. So, okay, so now I'm going to open up to questions, and I see Elder Ramsey. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a couple of questions about process. Is LZ committed to working to do the blasting when we redo the road? Dependent on what that schedule are. Are you committed to working your schedule to do it in conjunction with Pleasant View Road? One question. Question number 2, in the 3 buildings, to minimize the vibration and so on, are all 3 buildings going to be built at the same time, or are you planning to phase this project?
Go ahead, Dwayne or Ken.
Yeah, great
Actually,
question.
I'll jump in, Dwayne, if that's all right.
Thank
Sean
you.
Lee J, the L in the LZ Ventures. Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Yeah, we are, the whole point of the glide path of this was to try to pair up what we're doing with what the city's doing. The only, there's a handful of things that can derail it. If this process extends past when the work gets done at Pleasant View, getting approvals in place and that kind of stuff, who knows what is going to happen with the economy in the next 12 to 18 months, that may or may not slow us down. We are committed to doing all the heavy lifting we can possibly do. So if this project's approved, that it can start in conjunction with the rebuild of Pleasant View and then be done when the utilities are there for us, and make one, neighborhood mess and then be done with it for everybody on that rebuild. And then the other question was phasing.
Phasing, whether you're going to build all 3 buildings at once, or.
I think very naturally, our intention is to build the site contiguously, but it will get done in, you're going to start one foundation and start the building up, start the next one, start the building up, start the third one, start the building up. There will be a lag from when the first building is going to be done to when the third building is going to be done, but we have no intention of, again, unless we get back to 1978, interest rates are 18% again. We have no intention of doing one building and then sitting for a year or 2, and then doing another building and sitting for a year or 2, and then doing the third building and sitting for a year or 2. We want to do them contiguously, but I believe, our history is that my business partner and I used to run a construction company, so we tend to look too detailly at things, which is never too bad. That there will be a lag, there's probably going to be a 3 to 4 month lag between each one of the buildings, from when the first one's done to when the last one's done, just for efficiency.
So in best case scenario, then, is that a 12-month, 18-month from start to finish?
I would say it's probably 20-ish months. As we get direction on what we're, what your intention is for what's going to happen on this site, we will dive into it wholeheartedly and put together a schedule and engage all the proper people about the vibration and all the other things we have to do. And we will keep everybody informed as we go through the SIP and the rest of the approval process with it. We've just kind of hit a wall with, well, this seems like a really great idea to us, but until we go through this process, we didn't want to spin our wheels too much or be so presumptuous as to come in with a fully laid out plan for something that you guys haven't even thought about approving yet.
Understand. Thank you.
Any more questions, Elder Ramsey?
That's it for now. Thank you.
Commissioner John Schaefer.
Yeah, I just want to agree with the mayor about the park space and the playground. I mean, there's a nice concept you're showing, but I just want to make it clear and reiterate that, it's nice that you want to do these things, but there's an expectation and a mandate as part of the development that some of these things have to be done. I mean, the city expects it. We're talking at 300 some units in a place with virtually no playgrounds and open space. So I certainly can't support this until it comes to the Parks Committee. We need to look at clearer plans and see what these negotiations are with the land and swapping. But that's critically important to me and to this area. And while I hear the comments from people about the open space, it'd be wonderful if we could keep it that way, but it's never been zoned that way. But at least the parks are critically important. So I'm going to stand behind the need to send this to parks and put a lot of effort into that. My other big concern is with the one exit way into this place. It's right on a curve coming up a hill. And there needs to be some traffic study. I've been in a lot of these places trying to get in and out of parking lots with curves. And I just see a real nightmare with this one and only one entrance and exit. I don't know that there's any other way to put a second exit in here, but certainly I think that the traffic pattern has to be looked at very closely before something moves forward with this. I think there's a lot of good things about this plan. In general, I think I support it, but I think we need to work through these issues.
Thank you, Commissioner Schaefer. I agree with you so wholeheartedly. Anyone else, any of the other commissioners who may want to speak at this time? Mike Slavish.
Yeah, just a quick question, and not this for you, Dwayne or John, or even Justin with Fuhrbecker, but just curious on the drainage and the retention basin that you plan to build here. Any analysis to this point that shows that that's actually going to reduce the runoff that will run down the hill to where the condo developments are versus what's occurring currently? Clearly, I think if that is in fact the case, that would be, something that would be, supported by me, certainly on the Planning Commission and others. If you're actually improving that condition, just curious if you have any reaction to that.
That's definitely a Justin question. He's put a lot of thought into it.
Sure.
Yeah, Mike. So we've met with the Water Resources Commission back in April, and so the existing state, the site primarily drains kind of to the northeast, southeast direction. With this kind of building placement and layout that we have, overall the site is approximately 5.5 acres, which is all draining in that direction. With this layout, we're essentially collecting everything and funneling it interior to the underground system. And so the amount of runoff that's actually leaving our site, to the northeast and southwest is reduced to less than 1.5 acres. And that is primarily all green space around the perimeter of the site that we just physically can't collect because of the topography. So everything is being routed and treated internally to the underground stormwater system and then outletted to the new storm sewer in Pleasant View Road.
So Justin, just to clarify, I think you said the southwest. Did you mean the southeast?
Correct. Yeah. So existing state primarily goes to the northeast and southeast.
All right. So in essence, the mitigation measures you're proposing will reduce the amount of runoff that is occurring currently and heading to the southeast. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That is a good job, Justin. So any other questions or comments from the commissioners at this time? Any other commissioners who may want to ask questions or make any comments? Well, otherwise you can see what the staff recommendation is. You need a motion to defer action on the rezoning and send it to those 4 or 5 points which Abby has, do those things.
Schaefer will make that motion to defer under consideration of all the points brought out by the staff.
Okay, need a second.
Ramsey, a second. Go ahead.
Okay, second by, well, that's okay. So, okay, questions and comments now. I think the developer is very receptive. They're going to address the concerns, work with PPD and address all the citizens' concerns. And if we're going to reduce the stormwater, address the noise issue during the construction, and try to address some of the golf committee's concern, this will be really great. So any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Otherwise, motion is to defer action and work on the things which staff has proposed. So all those in favor of that motion say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Well, that was the last item. So it's still nice outside, so need a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Schaefer.
Slavish will second.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? We are adjourned. Go out and have a great time. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.